Right. So, I'll start with the vice presidential race muna. No? You said here that there's no clear front runner kasi may tie ba?
So sa vice presidential race, iba yung ating numero nakikita kasi mas fluid siya, no? Hindi ganoon kalaki yung mga difference ng first and second and third. So dito sa round na to, 6 yung nirelease namin and 20% each ang napunta kay Robin Padilla at saka kay Senator Bongo. No? Tapos pumapangatlo si former Senator Grace po. So nakikita natin mas fluid yan and compared do sa presidential na medyo malaki yung agwat ng first and second tapos mas malaki yung numero nung front runner. Tapos mas malaki din ng konti yung hindi pa sigurado dyan sa VP race natin. So mas fluid siya, mas open yung competition. So very competitive yung landscape.
Okay. So both Sara Duterte and Leni Robredo, no, nag-gain sila sa second quarter ng inyong survey?
Correct. So that's for the presidential naman. No? So actually, if you look at it talaga, ang biggest gainer dito si VP Leni, no? So at almost 5 points, tapos slightly ng konti lang si VP Sara Duterte. No? Pero silang dalawa yung na frontrunner, silang dalawa din yung medyo nag-benefit. Tapos bumaba ng konti yung dating tie, no? Si Raffy Tulfo at si VP Leni Robredo, nag-tie sila eh. Tapos ngayon medyo bumaba si Raffy Tulfo. Number 3 na siya. So hindi na siya statistical tie. It's now na clear na nag-second. So we'll see. I think kung mag-hold itong ganitong momentum and movement ni Mayor Leni at saka ni VP Sara.
Yung third place na si Senator Raffy Tulfo at medyo malayo-layo ang third place.
Malayo. I think ano na lang siya. 14%
yes.
na lang. So 6% gap silang dalawa no, ni Mayor Leni. So kung titingnan mo yung margin of error natin, 2.5%, ibig sabihin that's more than the margin of error. So statistically significant itong difference ng second and third place. And I think ilang beses na rin sinabi ni Raffy Tulfo na hindi siya tatakbo. So tapos he will seek re-election categorically. Nung sinabi na niya na medyo malakas yung statement niya dyan nung tinanong siya kung tatakbo siya, nagbitaw din siya I think ng salita na kung merong tatakbo, it should be si kapatid niya, si Erwin Tulfo. Yan din ang lumalabas na mga conversations, political conversations. So, palagay ko, yan yung reason kung bakit bumaba siya. Kasi kahit yung mga gustong siya tumakbo, nag-shift na doon sa kanilang choice, which is potentially si VP Leni na nag-hope pa rin yung mga tao. Marami kasi nagsasabi na pwede siyang tumakbo. So, nagkakaroon ng medyo rallying and support effect yung numbers niya.
Yung isang survey firm, they saw daw that the impeachment has obviously affected the vice president's numbers. Ano ba yung survey period din yun? Na-cover na ba ninyo yung start impeachment?
So, na-cover namin yung sa lower house, yung sa House of Representatives, no? Doon sa hearings doon sa Committee on Justice. Pero pasimula pa lang yun doon sa Senado, sa Senate. So, ibig sabihin na hindi pa niya nakukuha yung talagang more national conversation. No? So, makikita natin yan sa quarter 3. Sa quarter 3 natin makikita kung may effect talaga. Pero yun, so baka may effect, pero hindi natin makakapture ngayon.
So, just to be clear, the second quarter survey was done from which month?
June 9 to 16.
June 9
so that's
to 16.
Around the middle, the first half of the middle of June. And nagsimula, I think, yung impeachment further pa, mga later that month, if I'm not mistaken, or July.
I'm sure ibang-iba ang ano nito, no? Ang magiging narrative nito if you look at the numbers for the third quarter.
For the third quarter. Mag-iiba kasi syempre mako-cover na niya lahat ng pinag-usapan doon sa impeachment. No? Makikita natin kung epektibo nga yung kung dito sa Court of Public Opinion may effect itong pagka-televise nitong conversations dito sa yung litigation ng impeachment sa Senate.
Okay. I don't know if it's a significant question pero people are saying that the reason why sila VP Leni, etc. are not gaining so far kasi hindi pa sila nag-declare. Wala pang actual solid declaration of candidacy.
Totoo yan. Totoo yan. So, sabi natin dati na the reason why maraming hindi sigurado dahil hindi nila alam kung tatakbo hindi rin sila sigurado kung tatakbo yung bet nila. No? And dun sa 17% na hindi sigurado, marami dyan ang susuporta kay Vice President Leni or naghihintay lang na mag-declare siya. So we expect na mag-change yung landscape in the next few months kung nagkaroon ng more definitive na announcement from VP Leni.
Yung gentleman na yun, tatakbo kaya yun. Ang katabi ni Lara.
Well, tingnan natin. We did include him in some of our polls. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Of course, ang number one sa inyong survey pa rin sa senatorial race ay yung almost namesake mo.
Oo, si Robin Padilla. Oo. Yeah, so ang actually, Lordo, so kung titingnan mo yung data natin, balikan ko lang yung mas fundamental na data, I think, yung dun sa factional partisanship na data. Nakikita natin actually, dalawang biggest gainers na faction. So yung faction natin tatlo, diba? So you have the Duterte faction and Marcos faction, liberal progressive faction, yung mga pinks and yellows, pati yung who don't identify themselves with anyone. So yung pinakamalaking growth in terms of factions is still, ang pinakamalaking faction pa rin is yung Duterte faction, no? At around 37% of all Filipinos identify themselves with the Duterte. Tinatrack namin yan over time,
Okay.
so for the last 3 years. And then you also have yung liberal progressive. But ang gusto ko sabihin, from November 2025 to June, nagkaroon ng 8-point increase ang faction ni Leni Robredo, no? Ang liberal progressive faction. So sila yung nag-benefit, no? But at the same time, merong incremental increase din itong faction for the Dutertes, no? The reason why I mentioned that is because yung gain ni VP Sara and VP Leni, doon ang gagaling. Ang driver niyan is yung growth ng faction nila. Also, itong growth ng yung nakikita mong results sa Senate is also driven by that factional data. Marami talaga sa Senate ang nagbe-benefit doon sa laki ng faction ni Sara Duterte, ng mga Duterte-aligned, those who identify themselves with the Dutertes. Ang expectation, dapat magpa-plateau yan, kung magpa-plateau or magde-decrease. No? So for instance, nag-decrease yung who don't identify themselves with anyone, tapos tumaya yung mga tao doon. Kaya doon mo makita yung decrease ng who don't identify themselves with anyone, tapos nag-increase naman yung support for liberal progressive tsaka Duterte. So, ibig sabihin, naging mas polarized this year ang Philippine politics. So doon mo makita, yan yung pwedeng conclusion natin dyan sa data na yan. But ma-demonstrate yan, nagmamanifest yung ganyang type of support doon sa resulta, doon sa pre-election survey. Kung sinong susuportahan for VP, kung sinong susuportahan for President, and kung sinong susuportahan for the Senate. Nakikita mo na across the board, nagko-correlate siya doon sa data ng factions na malaki pa rin yung sumusuporta dito sa mga Dutertes. And ang lesson dyan is, you know, if you want to stage an effective campaign, kailangan mo malaman saan nanggagaling yung support niyan. Bakit nag-increase? Bakit hindi nag-change? Bakit stable siya? No? Ano yung drivers ba ng support ng mga tao? Diyan sa mga Dutertes, di ba? Kasi, in fact, if you look at it, this is the 10th year anniversary of the Dutertismo. Kasi 2016 to 2026.
That's true.
And ang lahat ng scholars, mga nag-aaral ng society and politika, yan ang tanong eh. Bakit stable yung numbers? And nagmamanifest din yan doon sa mga sinusuportan for pre-election surveys, no? And mga issues na sinusuportan nila. So I think yan yung kailangan natin i-unpack. Bakit ganyan yung resilience ba ng support? And also, resilience support for Duterte, but also yung trend na momentum nito ni VP Leni Robredo. Bakit siya umakyat? Right? So, despite the fact she hasn't announced. So, these are, I think, mga what we call empirical puzzles na pwede nating i-hypothesize based on what we see on the data.
When you ask ba who sa surveys niyo, do you follow it up with a why?
So, not for this one. No? Hindi siya kasama doon sa aming standard question. But actually, this is something that we want to find out for the next round, nating quarter 3, to really have a more scientific way of knowing bakit nga, ano yung sources of support for this faction. Bakit nag-grow yung ibang faction. In fact, you can also see na bumababa rin yung support for the Marcos faction. Bumaba ng slightly yung support for the Marcos faction.
Slight lang.
Slight lang, oo, slight lang. Pero ang pinaka-significant na may momentum na kita natin talaga is yung liberal progressive, yung kampo ni Leni.
Do you think Pinoys are always measuring things on a contrasting level palagi? Parang we vote or we choose in contrast to this particular group or person or political affiliation.
I think yan ang phenomenon na nakikita natin simula nitong 2022. Actually, not always. Makikita mo mas, it's not really parang per ideology. Hindi natin nakikita yan ngayon. Nakikita natin per family. So, away ng pamilya. And dyan pa rin until now, nagre-revolve itong mga different factions. No? Kaya mas madaling ngayon i-measure kasi mas sharp yung difference nila according to itong away ng mga pamilya. So yan ang nakikita natin mas enduring na parang characteristic ng ating Philippine politics and society.
Ano pang mga findings niyo sa inyong public opinion monitor?
Marami actually
Let's say attitudes.
Sa attitudes umakyat ang significantly, no? Mas maraming tao nagsasabing hindi sila masaya doon sa kanilang
Love life?
status sa buhay.
Okay.
Status sa buhay, no? Minsan din yan sinasagot natin.
Napaka-existential lang kasi ng question na yun.
Yeah.
So you ask, are you happy with your life? Parang
No,
ganun.
well, actually, it's more specific. No? Tinatanong natin, tama ba ang direksyon ng bansa? So dati 50+% ang nagsasabing hindi tama. Ngayon, 68% nagsasabing hindi maganda ang buhay nila. And ang mga driver niyan, ito yung na-experience sila ng sinasabi kong twin crisis. No? So yung inflation and then yung energy crisis. No? Nagko-compound yan. And recently, lumabas yung economic growth na numbers natin na quarter and quarter, 2.2% lang yung growth natin. So basically, we're in this situation where people really feel the effects of all of these things, the slowing growth, itong mga macroeconomic realities such as itong energy crisis natin. Akala natin dati kasi ang layo ng Iran war. Pero sa totoo lang, ang laki ng effect hindi lang sa OFW, pati sa mamamayang Pilipino, no? Yung araw-araw na gumagamit ng mass transportation, araw-araw gumagamit ng kotse, naapekto rin yung MSMEs and businesses. So that's why mas maraming tao na kumakatwiran na ang direksyon ng ating bansa hindi nasa tamang landas, no? So
And to think, upper middle income na tayo na bansa, sabi nila.
so medyo contrasting yung ating mga
Ungrateful. Okay, babalik ako sa vice presidential survey.
Okay.
Si Bam Aquino may significant jump din, pero mas tatanungin ko sa presidential supposedly. Bakit nahihirapan pa rin ang mga numbers si Risa Ontiveros?
So maraming sagot dyan actually. So siguro unang-una, babalik ako dun sa gano'n ba kalaki yung base nila. No? So dito nakikita natin around 20% yung base ng mga liberal progressives. No? Hindi lahat yan pupunta kay Risa Ontiveros, for instance. No? So magdidesisyon ng ating mga tao, sino ba ang standard bearer nila? And ngayon, ang nakikita nilang standard bearer is si Leni Robredo. Kaya siya yung pinakamataas na numbers. The second, I think, syempre, ang mga kandidato, kailangan nakakakuha dapat sila ng boto sa ibang mga kampo din. So importante na you don't only talk to your voters, to your faction, to your base. Diba? You might be preaching to the choir. Ibig sabihin, yung bubble mo lang, yung already sumusuporta sa'yo, yun ang nakakausap mo. You need to be talking to and attracting and presenting messages to people who don't necessarily support you. You have to win their votes. So there might be a member of the Marcos faction, but you still have to, it's a politics of addition, right?
Yeah.
So you still have to convince them to vote for you.
At malaki
Palagay ko,
na ba
hindi so ang Marcos faction, mga 18 to 20%, ang liberal progressive faction sa 20%. Actually, if ihalo mo yan, competitive din sa 30-40% ni Sara Duterte. Pero balikan ko lang yung kay Risa, palagay ko, hindi pa niya nako-convince yung mga ibang tao, no, sa ibang factions na bumoto sa kanya. Tapos hindi pa niya nako-convince din yung sarili niyang faction na siya dapat yung standard bearer. Right? So, kaya nga, laging tinatanong sa amin, kung ito bang kandidato na to hindi tumakbo, saan pupunta yung boto? I think that's a common question. That's a reasonable question. Saan magdi-disperse yung boto? Makukuha ba nito kagad? The answer is no. Kasi meron kaming data na tinatawag namin, sino ba yung second choice na vote kung hindi tumakbo itong preferred nila na number one. So may rank yan, second, third, fourth. Doon mo malalaman what is the potential of a candidate to receive the votes in case the first one does not run. Eventually gets impeached, decides not to run, whatever. Diba? So wala doon si Sen Risa pa. No? So ibig sabihin, hindi pa siya nasa national consciousness na siya dapat ang maging presidente natin. So among many things, of course, alam natin na she is of a particular political persuasion. She's a member of Akbayan Party List. It has a broad appeal. Nag-number one siya as a party list. But at the same time, I think this is a more recent phenomenon. Diba?
Dapat yata ibalik yung alampay. Nawala na. She ditched that na kasi.
Pwede. Oo.
Okay, you still maintain that the majority of the young voters are still of the
Yeah.
DDS persuasion?
Yun na nga. So, lagi namin yung tinitingnan na pag disaggregate mo yung factions, no, tatanungin namin kung anong demographic breakdown, di ba? Kung bataan o anong class, etc., saan kagaling. Around 40% are still supporters of or identify themselves as supporters of the Dutertes. And a little more identify themselves as to be supporting Sara Duterte if in case she runs for president in 2028. So this is a, sabi ko nga, we don't invent these numbers. This is really what we know now. Of course, yung tanong is, nagkaroon ba tayo ng exit poll nitong 2025 after nung election nung May? Hindi tayo nagkaroon yan. But the closest that we can get is if we track these numbers over time after the elections or pre-election polls. So, yan ang nakikita natin. It might make a lot of people unhappy. It might surprise a lot of people. But yan ang nakikita nating data. And although it doesn't discredit the big support that the liberal progressives have among the youth, no? Among the Gen Zs, yung 29 and below, tapos itong mga millennials, yung nasa 30 to 45. No? Malaki pa rin yung nakukuha nilang support. And I think they will still be the driver for the next election round.
At obviously, ito yung mga estudyante,
Yes.
mga naka-base academe of
Yes.
a certain economic
Status.
status, mga ganun,
Oo.
ano?
And marami din dito mga working. In fact, sila yung nakaka-experience talaga ng hardship. Kasi sila yung nasa, yung may mga bagong families, mga millennials,
I see.
mga 31 to 40, di ba? Kakakasal lang, up and coming, mga ganyan. So sila yung very sensitive, and also by social media sila. Very sensitive to public opinion, what they see, the information that they see, but also how their lived economic experience every day is very important. And
Pag nakita nila yung kanilang withholding tax.
Yes. Eh, kaya nga may flood control. So,
Yeah.
kaya nakikita mong, in fact, you could analyze mo, napupunta sa what we call opposition. Dalawa yung potential opposition, di ba? So, sinasabi nila, Duterte is opposition, liberal progressive is opposition. Then, opposition to the state, to the government. So, parang nagkakaroon ng appraisal sa performance ni President Marcos. Tama ba talaga ang ginagawa niya? And napupunta yung support dun sa mga outside of the state, yung mga alternative political forces such as the Dutertes and the liberal progressives. We're not saying na any of these groups are the real opposition. No? That's another discussion. Who is the genuine opposition? But what I'm saying lang is, syempre, ang tanong is, who do they blame? Itong mga taong nakaka-experience ng economic hardship. Diba? Do they blame this global economic phenomenon or do they blame their government? And ngayon, nakikita natin that many people believe that the government should be on top of things such as